Hi, good afternoon. It's Graham Coath with another My Music. It's that lovely time of the afternoon when I get to speak to another musician. I'll be speaking to Jason from the Painkillers any minute now. First, a word from our sponsor. I need to get going, Mel. See you later. Afternoon. Do you know what? I must have watched that video, Jason, now about 100 times, and I've only just spotted the little blue plate that he's eating the toast off on. And it was exactly the same as the sort of plates my gran used to have.
Right.
Back in the day. Do you know what I mean with like the Chinese pattern on it?
Yeah, I think everyone's nan had one of them plates or something knocking about. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it was kind of the in thing at the time, and now we tend to go for much plainer sort of patterns and whatever. You know, it's a shame really because they were quite spectacular. I used to look at them longingly, and actually people used to hang plates on their walls. Do you remember that as well?
Yeah. That's no longer a thing, is it?
Or at least no longer. No, it's actually if you have a plate these days, you fight over it. To stop it going in the dishwasher. Anyway, how are you, my friend? Where are you coming from?
Manchester.
Ah, lovely. Have you spent all of your life in Manchester, or have you slowly but surely moved there?
Yeah, so I've been here for about 10 years, maybe 11 years now. So I'm from North Wales originally. So yeah, just moved up 11 years ago. Just been stuck here ever since.
You're stuck in Manchester. Scrim up north. Don't say that. So you grew up in Wales. Which part of Wales did you grow up in?
Anglesey. Yep.
Anglesey. Okay. Well, that's quite different from Manchester. So in terms of growing up in music, what was that like for you? Because obviously Wales has its traditions in terms of music. Did your parents ever sing in the choir or anything like
that? No, not in like the Eisteddfod or anything like that. But yeah, I used to get dragged to church a lot as a kid. So yeah, there was a lot of singing in church, and it was one of those evangelist kind of churches with tambourines and guitars and stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, kind of got subjected to that at quite an early age.
Well, there you go. So you know all of the Graham Kendrick repertoire, probably, of songs and all of that sort of thing. I mean, in some ways, it's amazing actually how many musicians I've had through the doors here on this program that did go to church in their younger years. I mean, in a way, regardless of where you ended up faith-wise or anything like that, it's quite a good education though musically.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to depending on which churches I guess you go to. I know there's like more boring churches where it's just the organ and whatnot. But in where we went, there was, like I said, the guitars, the organs, and tambourines and stuff. And my guitar teacher was part of that church as well. Right. So I think my parents knew her through the church, and then ended up being taught classical guitar by her.
That's really interesting. I had a friend, because we grew up in the church as well, and I had a friend that was sort of the main guitarist in the worship band, but actually he ended up teaching me the first thing he ended up teaching me on the guitar was Stairway to Heaven, which which what isn't a Christian song, believe it or not, for anyone that hasn't actually happened upon Led Zeppelin, but blew my mind, in a good way. What were your earliest influences music wise?
I'm trying to think back. I mean, we had a lot of vinyl in the house. My dad had quite a collection, so that sort of was basically like 70s disco. There was some Elvis in there. So yeah, there's some interesting records. So like Rolling Stones, yeah, I was subjected to that. But then, like I said, I was taught classical music. So I really enjoyed that part of it as well, like the old guitar pieces. But then I remember sort of hearing the blues and seeing some other guitarists play the blues, like on TV. See, like they were watching Top of the Pops, I think at the time. There was some blues on there, and like I heard some Jimi Hendrix, and that just made me want to learn the electric guitar. So I just kind of stopped with the classical stuff and ended up, learning the blues and rock and roll and stuff. So yeah, I'd say it was like that 70s period really sort of interested me as a kid. Yeah.
Whenever anyone says to me that they started off with classical guitar and then sort of like turned to the blues, my mind immediately goes to that seminal film Crossroads. Do you ever see that film?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that film. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it? Just for anyone that doesn't remember that film, it was as I remember, it was the actor from Karate Kid playing the main lad in it. And it's the story. It's really kind of the story of Robert Johnson in a way, in as much as it's like sells your soul to the devil in terms of getting the blues. But it's got, whereas a lot of films have got a great car chase in them, this has got a great guitar duel in it, where he has to play guitar up against Steve Vai, and I believe Steve Vai does both of the parts. Actually ended up playing both of the parts, and of course Steve Vai is this heavy metal kind of rock guitarist, etc. And right at that, I'm not hoping I'm not spoiling this for anyone, but right at the last minute, the kid pulls out his classical guitar. Yeah, and that's what trips the other guy up. Were you ever a little bit like that when you first started playing rock guitar? Did you ever bring out the sort of classic guitar on the rock guitar as well?
Not until like later on when I was more confident playing the electric guitar. But yeah, like when I first started playing it, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what a chord was, or like any kind of strumming. So I remember getting a book that had "Blowing in the Wind," Bob Dylan. And I just remember learning the basic chords. It took me ages to get the hang of, just strumming and, getting the rhythm down. But no, yeah, like later on, I did try and sort of, I don't think I did it on purpose, but it's just the kind of scales and whatnot that I was used to, they did come across. So rather than doing like major normal scales, I was playing some, sharps and flats, and it was just like second nature. So they did sound a bit more fiddly, more sort of classical in some of the lead that I was playing and stuff. So it's definitely had an influence on my style, I think.
There you go. You see how these things lovingly work out over the years. What was the first kind of albums you remember buying? Do you know that?
Yeah. So I think I remember buying vinyl when I was a kid, and I was buying stuff that was like in the charts at the time. But then I remember, like when I first got CDs, I think the first couple of albums that I got were like Oasis and The Verve, and then I got some BB King. I think I even had some UB40 as well, like a bit of reggae and Bob Marley going on as well. So I've always had like a really broad kind of collection of music. I do like listening to pretty much anything, but yeah, my CD collection was quite out there. It was quite a mix of stuff.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I remember at that period as well, because reggae was really, at that sort of period, reggae was really kind of big as well again, and it was great, and great for summer months. That's the thing with reggae as well. I mean, I always almost feel that reggae's almost seasonal, in that I can't but help it when you start to get the sun out in the summer, but to get some reggae out, it just helps with the mood. I just think it's just something about it.
Yeah.
So in terms of writing, when did you first start writing and producing your own music?
Well, I think I did start writing music with my friend at the time. I think we were about 15. Wow. And and we started. Actually, I think it was when I learned the 12-bar blues, so I knew like the 3 chords, and we started writing like really stupid, kind of funny lyrics, and it was just as a joke, really. And because my friend, he liked singing, and he actually turned to be a really good singer in the end. But yeah, at the time, it was just like a jokey, funny songs. And then when I got to about, I'd say 18 to 20, it kind of got a bit more serious. Then I would write songs on my own. And then I joined my first band kind of thing around about 24, 25, I think. And then I was just the guitarist and helped with the musical side of things. But then like seriously writing my own songs, and that I guess is when I started living in Manchester. I started a band called The Unassisted, and we did EPs and stuff, and did a lot of gigs around the Northwest. And yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. But it just got to the point where, you know, life basically got in the way. You know, like work and kids and all that kind of stuff. Just we ended up, I guess, sort of, yeah, just going our own ways in the end. And then that's when I wrote the Painkillers stuff, because I thought, you know, I might as well have a crack at doing it on my own. I know how to play the bass and sort of produce stuff to an extent. And then, yeah, I guess this is like my first crack at, you know, doing it all on my own.
Well, I'm really pleased that you did, and it's a fabulous album that you put together there. What was the inspiration, A, behind the name, the Painkillers, and B, the album?
Yeah, so I had surgery a couple of years ago, and it's kind of, I was unlucky to be in like the small percent of people that come out worse off. So I actually have like a really bad sort of lower spine, and like I basically have chronic pain all the time. So I can't gig or do like, you know, go and practice with other musicians and stuff anymore. So that's where the name of the band came from, because, you know, I'm always changing medications and having to take medication all the time. So I thought that would be a funny name for the band. So yeah, just have that. And then the name Sit Down just came from the fact that, you know, a lot of the time, if I go somewhere like to work in the office and I sit in different chairs, it absolutely ruins me. Like I end up being like laid up for weeks. So I thought that Sit Down was a good name from my perspective for the album, because, you know, I find it really challenging going places and just doing simple things that, you know, it seems ridiculous. I even laugh about how ridiculous it is that, you know, I can't do simple things like that.
Well, it's not ridiculous at all. Actually, one thing that people may or may not know about me is that outside of the music stuff that I do, I've spent 20 odd years actually in that kind of workplace adjustment and working with people with disabilities and different chronic conditions arena, and actually work with some specialist seating companies, for example, who help people like yourself, because actually a standard chair won't cut it for some people. So I'll hook you up with them afterwards so that you can have a word with them, because there are things that can be done. You know, but it's, I mean, it's so you, if you don't mind me asking, so have you been registered as with a disability now because of the surgery, or?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always suffered with it since I was a teenager, but I was never really diagnosed with anything until I was in my mid-30s, I think. So from there, you know, now I knew what I had and I was getting some proper treatment. But yeah, this is how I ended up in surgery and it not turning out right. So it's just something I've always dealt with. So I've kind of been used to that pain and, you know, dealing with stints of being, you know, bedridden and unable to do things. So yeah, it's kind of like sort of just the norm for me, really.
So for you, when did you start writing this album, by the way?
So it was around about April last year, I think.
Okay, so we're in the middle of the pandemic. we're in the middle of lockdown. How was this period of the pandemic for you? Because I mean, you're restricted anyway, slightly in terms of movement or whatever. But have you found it worse or?
To be honest, it hasn't really affected me much because it's like I can go to too many places, always order my shopping in and that kind of stuff. So it was more with the kids because I've got 4 kids that live with me, and I think it was more of a change for them, like having to help me more and kind of like, I guess, take on that extra responsibility. So I definitely think it's been tougher for them than it has for me, but it hasn't really had that much of an effect on me, to be honest.
I mean, the good news in a way, because as you say, that you're not necessarily able to go and do what other people are able to do in terms of promoting their music and playing live all of the time, etc. But actually, this whole period's seen a bit of a swing in that everything has moved online. People have become a little bit more comfortable with online technology and turning to online. So in a way, this is a great time to release your first bit of work, is it not?
Yeah, totally. And I think with like for example, like things like Twitch. So I did start doing a lot of gaming on Twitch when the pandemic first started, because I thought, I'm gaming anyway, and it's a good way to meet people and like kind of have that sort of community feel. So that was really good. I did get quite into that, but like now with trying to think of ways of like performing music and doing stuff like my album, I'm thinking of platforms like Twitch again to sort of maybe do it that way, because I'm having to approach it differently. So yeah, those are the kind of things that I see myself doing, rather than, like you said, going out and trying to gig and do it live and stuff.
Well, it's interesting actually, because I mean there are some artists that I've met who are actually big into both. And actually, I'm thinking of some people that I've met who are actually do quite a few streams on Twitch where they're doing their gaming, but they also integrate their music into it. Hi there in the background. I love kids, don't they? They just want. We have 5 kids here, and whenever you do anything live, they're like hanging around. Oh, what's that? What's going on? So don't worry about it. But yeah, I mean, I think you can combine these things these days, and I think there's an audience out there that are like, oh, okay, I've been watching this guy gaming, but now I'm going to listen to him play guitar for half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely sort of getting more of a norm, I think, because even like Bandcamp have just added like streaming to their website, so like you can do ticketed events and sell them off, as well as your merch and your digital downloads and stuff. So I think it's definitely going to be something you see more of.
Are you on things like Discord as well?
Yeah, I've got. I've only just set it up because I've only just got back into the Twitch side of things. So yeah, I've got it, but I don't really use it much at the moment. But I was thinking it might be something that I use a bit more around, like maybe I've seen people doing like subscriptions. So rather than just selling CDs or digital downloads, a lot of people are doing like an annual subscription with benefits and stuff. So I was thinking that might be a good way to like create a little community around the band and the music and the streams and stuff. So yeah,
I think it's a great way to go. I think people love, I think people who are not producers of music or not producers of art, but appreciate it, really love that ability to get involved at a human level with it now, and actually, be able to, as you say, have that kind of almost personal experience of coming in, hearing things as they develop, being able to hear the ideas first. I think it's a lovely way. So that's good. So just talk me through some of the songs on the album. Then, what are the themes that you're drawing out on the album?
So yeah, one of the main themes was getting into a new relationship, and sort of dealing with, I guess, you know, all the things that come with like a new relationship. So, like the excitement of getting to know someone new, and the time you spend apart, and like missing somebody and dealing with that. I just wanted to put that sort of into songs, I guess, because it's easy to write songs when you're in a specific sort of frame of mind. So if you're feeling down and depressed, it's a good way to sort of get that off your chest and put that into a song. And it's the same from being in a new sort of exciting relationship. You have that kind of energy where everything's kind of good, and everything's rosy, and it's a really good state of mind to be in. But I also find it like quite a sort of fine line between writing cheesy songs, or going down that path and trying to keep it what I would see as kind of cool and sort of still dark, a bit mysterious. It's a really fine line trying to do that, but with a love song. So I've just been trying to play around with that, and I thought it was a good sort of way to approach the songwriting.
Well, and I think you've done that really, really well. Let me just. We'd never play music on this show because we want to encourage people to get teased into going and investigating it for themselves. But let me just assure people, there's no cheese on this album. All right, you're not going to open this up and feel like it's Valentine's Day all over again. So it's not that. It's a very real album, and it comes across as a very real human experience throughout the songs.
Plug my laptop in, sorry, before it dies.
Yeah, no. Talking about real, that's the sort of thing that one and all of us have to deal with these days. Is power. There you go. If only we could find a magic plug to plug it into, mate. Where we didn't have to pay these extortionate bills that have suddenly hit us. Or
God, yeah, I know.
The cost of electricity these days. I'm personally thinking about going and working in a cafe during the day, because actually I think it's probably cheaper than sitting at home and doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, especially if you can get one of those places where you buy the coffee once and then it's free refills after that. I mean, basically, they're paying you to be there.
Yeah, I'm sure they get tired of you eventually. But
I know. if you did it every day, it might be quite a good people watching experience. Talk about that. Are you into that as well? Are you quite an observer of people and humanity? Is that something that you use in your songwriting? Or do you write just from your own experience?
I do try and write from both sides. So like some of the songs that I've written in the past, especially when I was in the unassisted, we did try and write some songs that were kind of political and were commentary on what was going on at the time. But yeah, I haven't done that on this album. No, I don't think I have. No,
this is purely you. Yes.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of 2022 hold for you musically? What are you hoping to achieve with this?
Yeah, so I just want to I guess build my own sort of community kind of brand around what I'm trying to do. I do see myself still writing music. I mean, I released another song in January. I just wrote it and it just all kind of fell together. So I put it out. So I do that now and again, where I'll just have like a evening, and then all of a sudden I'll write loads of music. So I do hopefully see like another album towards the end of the year. But mainly this year, I wanted to look at like the marketing and branding side, because I do find the whole social media and sort of growth of a fan base like quite interesting. So I want to learn as much as I can about that, and see where I can sort of get to, like from a growth perspective as well. So that's what my plan is this year.
Oh, well, if you need any help, any hints and tips with that, please do get in touch, and I'll be happy to help. One or two more questions. One is very, very quickly, the artwork,
yes,
of which we used on this poster. Who was responsible for that?
Yeah, that's myself, just doodling at home, because I thought, it probably would be quicker if I could do the artwork myself. What I've done in the past is I've got a friend back home in Anglesey who's an artist, and he used to make all of the artwork for my old CDs. So I'll just show you here quick. So he made like some really cool artwork for our old EPs.
Yeah.
So I've gone down that route before, but what I thought with this was, because I was trying to make like a I don't know, like a strong, basic kind of sound. I wanted the artwork to be kind of basic as well. So I just thought
it's got that homemade feel.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just do it on my iPad. I just doodle on that and put it up. Yeah.
No, I like it though. I think it's got a really strong brand to it, if you like. It's got a really strong identity to it. These childlike drawings as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my artistry skills are very basic, as you can see. So yeah, it's yeah. I've had good feedback, so I just kept doing it, and I thought, like you said, it's a good kind of angle from trying to create that brand and stand out a bit from everybody else is doing.
No, it really works. And one thing that I do ask people, which is if you could work with anybody else musically, who would that be? Choice is yours.
I am such a big fan of Richard Ashcroft. I would love to write music for him, so that I could take the back seat and be like the music and the band around.
You be in the background, but you give him a song and be able to go and see a concert and go, I wrote that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if I could go back in time, it would obviously be something like Hendrix or some kind of like Bowie-esque music I'd want to write. But yeah, like I've grown up like listening to the Verve, and I just love the sound that they had as a band, and I kind of try and build my pedals and effects out with the same style. So like I don't try and emulate the sound, but I do try and have that kind of twist and that shoegazy kind of sound where I can and squeeze it in. So I think that would definitely be awesome.
Oh, fantastic! Well, what a great choice, and what a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today for this. I'll leave you to tea or whatever's just come through the door with the family.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been really cool.
No, it's a pleasure. I've got to go and cook probably pasta and garlic bread or something myself for the kids. That's the way we roll in proper rock and roll land.
Exactly,
none of this. Yeah. We don't have people cook stuff for us. We go and cook it for everybody else in the family. Thanks so much for joining me. I wish you all the best with this. Is there? Where do people get it? You say Bandcamp. You're on there, aren't you?
So I've just been playing around building my website today. Funnily enough, so you can get everything on the painkillers.org. That's cool. Pretty much got everything on it. So and then Bandcamp for my homemade merch that I do. Yeah.
Oh well, people, please check it out. Do support Jason and the Painkillers, his project, his band. And thanks so much for joining me. And I wish you well. And we'll touch base some other time. Bye for now.
Definitely. Yeah, cool, brilliant. Thank you.
Bye bye.